Hello, everyone. My name is Anthony Mastromanco. Today, we're going to explore if the United States should have used the atomic bomb against Japan and World War II. On December 7th of 1941, the Empire of Japan had made the decision to bomb Pearl Harbor. This led the United States to join World War II on the Pacific Front. Prior to this, tensions had been mounting between the United States and Japan. Japan was an isolated power, separated from the rest of the world. They had begun an aggressive expansion campaign, eventually leading to the invasion of China in 1931. In 1937, Japanese forces captured the city of Nanking, ultimately killing and raping local civilians. This had become known as the Nanking Massacre. The United States responded by imposing economic sanctions that included trade embargoes on aircraft exports, oil, and other key goods. In September of 1940, the Empire of Japan signed the Tripartite Pact with Germany and Italy. Japan had now established an alliance with two fascist regimes that were also opposing the United States. Negotiations between the United States and Japan had led to nowhere. The United States hoped that the embargoes would halt Japan's expansionism. However, it only angered the empire. With Japan backed into a corner, it made the decision to develop a surprise attack on the United States. Pearl Harbor was chosen as it was the United States' main base for the Pacific Fleet. Japan's hope was to destroy the Pacific Fleet and U.S. morale so that they could not retaliate. The attack resulted in the sinking of 4 battleships and damaging 4 others, destroying approximately 300 aircraft and killing an approximate 2,400 service members. Japan would go on to invade a string of islands in the Pacific. In the end, it appeared the attack was successful. In reality, Japanese forces failed to destroy the entire Pacific Fleet and disregarded logistical targets such as oil tanks, repair facilities, and ammunition sites. Additionally, not a single aircraft carrier was struck during the attack. This allowed the United States to retaliate against the Japanese, to which it did in full force. In 1945, Germany and other Axis powers had surrendered to the Allies. Only Japan remained in the war, with no indication of surrender in sight. During this time, the United States was secretly conducting the Manhattan Project. The Manhattan Project was taking place throughout World War II, conducting research on nuclear weapons. On July 26 of 1945, U.S. scientists held their first successful test of the atomic device at the Trinity Test Site in Alamogordo, New Mexico. President Harry Truman issued the Potsdam Declaration, threatening the Empire of Japan with, and I quote, prompt and utter destruction if they did not surrender. With no response and no signs of surrender, the decision to drop the atomic bomb was made. On August 6, 1945, a B-29 bomber named the Enola Gay screamed over the skies of Hiroshima, Japan. Hiroshima was a manufacturing center with a population of approximately 350,000 people and was chosen as the first target. At 8:15 a.m., the bomb known as Little Boy was dropped. With no response from Japan, another atomic bomb was dropped on Nagasaki on August 9th at 11:02 a.m. On August 15th, Emperor Hirohito announced Japan's surrender, this date being come to known as VJ Day. The question remains, however, was the dropping of the atomic bomb the right move? With other plans that were implemented to defeat Japan, the atomic bomb was the quickest and significantly limited the loss of life. At this time, Japan had no indication of winning the war as they were being pushed back by the Allies with the tactic of island hopping. By the middle of 1945, President Truman took office with the war in the Pacific still raging. Japanese forces were inflicting huge casualties on Allied forces, showing that they were extremely deadly in the face of defeat. The Empire of Japan was rejecting all peace talks and was not looking to surrender. General Douglas MacArthur and other military commanders advised that conventional bombing of Japan and the invasion of the island would deter Japan into a surrender. However, it was also advised that the invasion would result in approximately 1 million U.S. casualties. It was noted that the Japanese viewed fighting to the death was more honorable than surrendering. And at the same time, women and children were being taught to use basic weapons to defend against the Allied invasion. While the use of the atomic bomb was controversial, President Truman stood by his decision. He did, however, restrict further bombing missions without his direct order. He eventually wrote in a letter to his sister just how he felt in regards to this decision. It was a terrible decision, but I made it. I made it to save 250,000 boys from the United States, and I make it again under similar circumstances. Overall, I would have to say that the use of the atomic bomb was the best move the United States had at the time. Its use led to a swift surrender of Japan, a highly trained and motivated enemy. Also, it limited loss of life that would have not compared to a full invasion of the island. Although destructive and controversial decision, it was one that reached the goal that everyone wanted, the end of World War II. Thank you for your time.